and welcome back. I'd love to give you an update on everything happening so far. I've received a little bit more gear, so I'm installing it onto my sim. I've received my Fanatec Podium F1 wheel, which is commonly known as the DD1. It's the same thing, except it has compatibility with the PS4. I thought I would get that just in case I want to get into Gran Turismo or any other PlayStation game that I've always wanted to play. Now that I have a PC, I think it's unlikely, but at the same time, I want to preserve that cross compatibility in case I need it. The wheel is fairly easy to install. There are 5 bolts here that you just slot in. Luckily, the RC Formula cockpit here, the pre-drilled holes fit perfectly. They line up, so just a washer and a bolt, they screw right in. Very, very simple. I really like the intricate detail here around the wheel. There's carbon fiber everywhere. The paddles are carbon fiber. They have a really nice feel to it. These are magnetic, so you can sort of hear that actuation as you click on it, and there's a very distinctive, snappy feel. It comes with a blue quick release, so you can pull off the rim and insert another one if you want to play a game that's not a Formula style, or perhaps a different custom rim that you create. I've seen on Reddit what people actually go and 3D print themselves. It's pretty interesting what people come up with. There's also a bunch of buttons that you can go and replace the on-wheel buttons with either icons with lights or the horn, depending on what you want to set it as. And there are little stickers that you can put on as well. I understand that Fanatec also sells a button and sticker kit where you can go and have millions of different possible combinations between buttons, colors, and stickers. It seems actually a pretty cool idea given how many buttons there are, and it's easy to forget what each one does. So I might actually look into that. I've also installed my Clubsport V3 pedals, also from Fanatec. All 3 of those springs between the throttle, the brake, and the clutch are adjustable. So they're actually one of my favorite things so far about my sim. They feel amazing. The clutch pedal feels like the real clutch pedal with a sort of the bite point. You sort of feel it. I've installed the Clubsport V3 pedals from Fanatec as well. They look pretty sturdy, and they're adjustable springs when it comes to the clutch, the pedal, and the throttle. More on that later if we need to. And the throttle spring is adjustable. It comes with a more stiffer spring if you like that feel. I've already put it on. I haven't even tried it. I've already put in the stiffer spring. It's just a quick preview for now. I'll do a more detailed review of the wheel and the pedals as soon as I get a little bit more running time on it. I've also received my computer. I bought an Alienware computer. I do a little bit more detail into the specs, but basically it's an AMD Ryzen 9, 32 gigs of RAM with the NVIDIA RTX 2080 Super video card. Those are sort of the more important bits, and it's running F1 2020 in full settings on the Samsung monitor quite well, so I'm happy enough. I don't need more or less or anything. I thought about building my own computer, putting all the parts into the car. I went to Parts Picker or Newegg. I've done that before, and it's not overly complicated. However, I realized I put all the parts into the bin or into the cart, and it was $50 or $100 off of what it would cost if I buy it straight from Alienware pre-built. I figure it's not worth the time to go and do it. There's no warranty, and I believe the Alienware system would have had liquid cooling, which my part bin PC wouldn't. So liquid cooling, I can always overclock a little bit in the future and get a little bit more life out of it. And considering an investment like a PC, it's a pretty expensive gaming PC. it's going to last me a long time. And any slight extension of that with a warranty and with overclocking, I'm all for it. So I paid a little bit of a premium extra. And hey, it looks pretty cool, I gotta say, with the LED lights or RGB lighting. And it's a pretty cool looking case. I've installed my Samsung monitor, which is the CRG9, which is a 49-inch ultra wide screen. It's fantastic. There is a problem, a very slight problem, with the few pixels here. I don't know if you can see it, but there are a few dead pixels, or maybe it looks like a piece of dust that's between the panels from manufacturing. I thought about sending it back, but seeing that it's in the very corner of the screen, and apparently it's gonna take months to ship another one because this one took a month and a half to ship, and seeing if I mean I'll have to ship it back, they'll have to inspect it, and another month goes by, and before they ship me another one, I figure I'll just suck it up. It's in the corner. It's not that bad. I hardly notice it, and I really only noticed it when I was testing for dead pixels. And I had full brightness on in full green, full red, or full white, etc., and all the sort of primary colors. And I realized, yeah, there's a bit of a defect, but under actual usage, under load of a graphic and a game or an image, I don't even notice it, especially when it's like way out in the far corner, the corner of my eye, where it's just peripheral vision. I It initially bothered me a little bit, and then I just forgot about it. So far, I turned on my computer and I solved only a couple games. The F1 2020 game, which I think is no surprise to anybody. I received a copy from Fanatec, and when I was ordering my wheel, but unfortunately it was an Xbox copy. But I sold it on Reddit. Somebody bought it and subsidized my PC copy, which I then went on Steam to buy. I bought this Schumacher edition, where it comes with all these Schumacher, liveries, and also Schumacher cars in his back in his Benetton days. So I tried the F1 2020 game, and it is so difficult. I think it needs a little bit more of an adjustment when it comes to the settings. I can't get the wheel settings right. I've only tried it for a few minutes. I wasn't feeling too well, so I plugged it in and I realized it's not really working out of the box. I think I need to calibrate the range of the wheel and map that to the F1 steering wheel, because the steering lock, obviously on the Podium F1, it's over 1,000 degrees, from lock to lock, and in a real F1 car, I think you barely get 360. So we'll need to do some calibration to get that working. But other than that, it's the force feedback is very strong. You got to really turn it up though from the default setting. The default setting is quite minimal. I think it's meant for someone playing with a controller or something. It seems to be a very casual game, but as I dive into more of those settings, I'll do another video on that one. Another game I installed is the iRacing game, and the iRacing game is much more of a sim, and this is really the sim that I've been really looking forward to. As you may have seen in my previous video, I've used to play IndyCar Racing 2 by Papyrus, which is apparently created by the same guys who then ended up making iRacing, and now it really explains why I've been really craving to play iRacing. It's just a bit of nostalgia, but a bit of just I'm the right target audience when it comes to people who really want to play racing simulators, not so much racing games. And I think the key difference here is that you simulate everything from getting a race scheduled in your calendar and your timetable of the day, maybe at 6 p.m. local time, and you wait till 5:55. You're jumping in your seat, you're waiting to get started. and you get into a 1 hour practice session, and you go into quali, you qualify, and then you race. And then throughout the race, there's a bit of a waiting period. You're waiting to get on the grid. You're waiting to do this and do that, and it just feels very real. I don't think it's meant for the mainstream crowd. I think most people will be put off by the waiting, but if you've ever done any type of motorsport in real life, then you'll know how real that is. There is a lot of waiting, absolutely, like throughout the entire day, and I mean, the waiting is not excessive. It's not just waiting for waiting's sake, but it's enough that it gives you a bit of a pause and lets you take a breather and think about, hey, I'm gonna get settled in, grab a glass of water or something, just get settled in, adjust your gloves, etc. And little things that you would do in real life, like, as you sit in the car on the grid, atmosphere feels real. And most importantly, you start with a very low powered car, like what you would drive in real life. I've always been a huge fan of Mazdas. I've had 3 in my life. And yeah, you start off with a Mazda Miata, an MX-5, around a very, low speed, sort of scenario where you'd barely break 100 miles an hour, if not like 80 miles an hour. You don't really go that fast. And it feels real because you're developing your skill. You need to develop the skill to be on the proper racing line, your basic awareness, accident avoidance, etc. And then you build the speed. You got to build the technique, and then you build the speed, and it feels very real. And the last, and I think the most important part of why I've been looking so much to iRacing is the online experience is just night and day with other racing games I've played. And people don't punt you. People don't, hit you out and think they're playing this, destruction derby, whether, they swipe you off the track. You get penalized for every time you go off track, every time you lose control, every time you spin out, every time you hit a wall, every time you hit an opponent. You get incident sort of marks, and with enough marks, you get disqualified, which is great because as you progress through, rookie and, D license, C license, and you go up, you get cleaner and cleaner racing. So the more you invest in time, the better quality of racing you get. And of course, you personally get better as well. So I really look forward to that. For comparison, I jumped into one quick race in F1 2020. I think I qualified 4th, and I immediately, first corner, just got punted off into the wall, and just, this is not fun. But in iRacing, I'm really looking forward to doing some open wheel racing, maybe the Skip Barber, Formula 2, etc. So I'm super excited, looking forward to it. Anyway, thank you again for watching. Hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications if you want to stay up to date. I do plan to release a new video each week, so I'll see you next week. Bye.